Welcome to the Geek Easy, fellow geeks. Let's open a beverage of your choice, because today I am going to finally be reviewing Marc Spector Moon Knight Omnibus #1, which covers collecting Marc Spector Moon Knight 1 through 34, Amazing Spider-Man 1963, 353 through 358, Moon Knight Divided We Fall, and material from Punisher Arsenal #2. There's pretty much a bunch of different writers: Chuck Dixon, Howard Mackey, J.M. DeMatteis, Al Milgrom, Bruce Jones, and Mike Barron. Yeah, and most of it is done by Chuck Dixon. Alright, so this here is the next iteration of Moon Knight. So the first omnibus, which is right over here, it had all of his, it had the Werewolf by Night number 32 and 33, which is his first appearances, all his little singular appearances in different comics, and then his first series, and then I think it was a 6-part series, the one where he was had the Ankh and the gold stuff, where he was basically during his time on the West Coast Avengers. And his 6-part miniseries, or the 6-part thing, didn't last long. So this is where this one picks up. And this series is kind of neat. It's more... What Chuck Dixon did is Chuck Dixon kind of stripped the character down. So it is just Marc Spector and Moon Knight. Marc Spector has gotten rid of the Jake Lockley and Stephen Grant identities, and it's just Marc Spector, Merlane, and Frenchie working. Mark is running a bunch of, like, an art dealership company, and this one deals more with his regrets of his past, meaning the mercenary thing, where he's not under the control of the priest like he was in that little 6-part thing before. He's not, his strength isn't increased by the full moon anymore. So it's just him dealing with more street level stuff. You got kind of the government coming after him on stuff for, someone's playing with him and coming after him for taxes and stuff like that. And so there's the problems dealing the two different things of his work life, day life, and his being Moon Knight. Sort of like what they do with Batman. So it's just stripped down to the two of them. And Chuck Dixon is an incredible writer. And so he does this quite well, because he also, Dixon also wrote Batman. And so the first few stories on here are really good. It gets, it has a So it's like he's dealing with Brother Voodoo, going after some stuff. He's got teams with the Punisher and a few things, and he actually goes on trial. There's the trial of Marc Spector, where he is being tried for his part in a coup that took it over in some country over in Africa. It's not a real country, of course, but as Marc Spector, and they shot the leader and all that. So it's like a 4 or 5 part thing on there, and so the first like 3/4 of this series, which is the longest running series, is the Marc Spector Moon Knight. The longest continuous running one is really good. But then they get to near the end of the series, or pretty much the end, where he takes on, they've got Stained Glass Mary in this one. It's a 6-part story, which lasted way too long, and it sort of meant to sort of reboot the character a bit, I guess, because he's Stained Glass Scarlet, that's the name, is just completely nuts at this point, and she's trying to get him to come to her, and it's really kind of long and convoluted, and it wasn't that entertaining, and it sort of, you had to kind of pull I had to kind of scrog my way through it. And then he had a couple other parts, and then there was the last one being Marc Spector Moon Knight number 34, which was called The Grudge. It came out in 1992. Then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stories of the Amazing Spider-Man, which was dealing with this kind of big, the ultimate evil or something, some storyline there. There was a character that was in the earlier part of the Marc Spector Moon Knight. Well, in the original series, there's a character named Midnight, right, who was a thief, and Moon Knight stopped him. The character wound up dying of cancer because of the chemicals he was exposed to. Now, in this series, his son comes and had taken over as being Midnight. And because he sort of wanted revenge on Moon Knight, but then he's like, hey, wait a minute, I want to be a hero. So he tries to make himself Moon Knight's sidekick. And Moon Knight's like, no. He's still doing it. And then the kid, they take on a group of bad guys called the Secret Empire. And Moon Knight thinks he gets killed, and they turn him into the cyborg. So the last the Spider-Man stories on here is Spider-Man, Punisher, Moon Knight, Night Thrasher, Nova, taking on the Secret Empire and the cyborg of Midnight, of the Midnight, who looks sort of like the Eradicator, you know, the Superman one who's the cyborg. He looked suspiciously like that with the jawline and with the way his jaw was, the metal exposed, which was pretty good. But the first half, 3/4 of this omnibus, really good. Then it just sort of started going downhill a little bit, but still I loved this, because I'm catching up. I know there's a bunch of stuff that I haven't read of Moon Knight. You know, I think I read most of the original series when it came out, but in the 80s, late 80s, when this came out, I was in the Navy, so I couldn't, you know, I was overseas most of the time, so I couldn't do a lot of it. But so most of this was like new material for me. I am going. The stories were great, like I said, the first part, and the art in here is pretty high quality. Hold on. Damn it. I do not want... Let me just take this off here for the moment. Anyway. Like, take a look at this. They've got the good... You've got his girlfriend Marlene fighting crime in a bikini. You can't complain too much about that. And you know, Moon Knight, the Punisher annual with Atlantis Attacks, Moon Knight on here, and then a little later it just kind of tapers off. Art is still good throughout most of the book. I mean, the quality of the art varies, but it's usually very good to good. There's only like one or two of them that's not the best. So combine the storytelling with the first part and the overall quality of the book. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5, and just say, you know, it wasn't as good as the first one, but I still recommend you read this if you're a Moon Knight fan, because it's Moon Knight goodness. But anyway, or if you're a Chuck Dixon fan. But anyway, let me know if you read it or not, what you thought of it. Like, subscribe, most of all, enjoy your comics.